So Bernie Sanders beat Hillary Clinton with about 52.7% of the vote last night in Indiana. Now, you have to keep everything in perspective, and this is a case of too little, too late for Bernie here. But I do need to clarify something for everybody because some people have misinterpreted some of my segments and what I've said when it comes to the Democratic primary. I think that you should vote for him either way in the primary. So when I come out here and I say, hey, look, man, the math isn't adding up, whatever tiny path he had is totally closing here, that doesn't mean that, hey, you should sit on your ass and when you have the opportunity to vote for him, you shouldn't vote for him. No, you should still go out and vote for him. Because there's this thing called the bandwagon effect, and I think we've seen a little bit of this on the Republican side, where as the primary season winds down, people start to realize what's inevitable, and then, you have the people who in this case would be for Bernie, they would be more likely to stay home, and the people for Hillary would be more likely to just go out and vote for her, because they think, well, it is what it is anyway, and oftentimes some people jump to the person who's going to win. Now, maybe it's a different case for Bernie and Hillary because they're so different, but historically, that's what would happen. And I want to be clear, I don't want to contribute to that in any way, shape, or form. So when I come out here and I give you guys the numbers and I give you guys what I think the likelihood is of Bernie winning, don't conflate that with me giving instructions or advice and saying, well, you might as well sit out because of the place we're at right now. No. Go out and vote for him in the primary no matter what. Even if he were to drop out, fucking write him in, okay? So, and it's really important because his plan is to stay in striking distance where, no matter how much of a long shot this is, and this is a big long shot, he could contest the convention and flip superdelegates to come to his side by making a variety of different arguments. Now, if Hillary gets indicted, then I would support him flipping superdelegates. And then I'd say, yeah, take it from him. She can't run the country from a fucking jail cell, okay? No, that's not okay. So it should go to the next person because she fucking was dragged away in handcuffs. It's crazy not to give it to the other person. So if that's the case, I'd support him doing it. I would not support him trying to flip superdelegates if there is no indictment or if there is no evidence of something big that's going to happen because, look, I'm weirdly principled, and even though I obviously prefer Bernie 1,000 trillion zillion times more than Hillary, I actually believe in the will of the voter. So it is true that at this point, she has over 2 million more votes than him, and you have to keep that in mind. And if she has more pledged delegates and she has more votes, I will be put in the awkward, uncomfortable position of coming out here and on principle saying, you got to give it to her. Because you have to remember, guys, what if it was the other way around? What if it was Bernie that had over 2 million more votes and Hillary was trying to snatch it with superdelegates at the convention? How would we react as people who support Bernie? We would say this is the most corrupt, undemocratic bullshit system I've ever seen. This is damn near fucking fascism. So you have to be principled, and that means that if there's no indictment, then, it would be wrong for Bernie to try to snatch them from him. Now, the counter-argument is, well, it's already been undemocratic, so who the fuck cares? He should fight because it's already been undemocratic. But again, you have to keep it real. The fact that there's been some issues in some primaries does not mean you can say with certitude he would have made up the over 2 million vote difference between them. Because he wouldn't, man. And if you say that, you just don't know. Okay? You don't know. You don't know that, hey, there was enough fuckery where he would be up if there wasn't fuckery. There's no way to say that. And again, if you take the average of the polls, yes, Bernie is tied or leading in some polls by a little bit now. But again, the average of polls all along, Hillary's up. So you have to keep it real about all this stuff. Don't lose your principles because you care deeply about a candidate. And I get it. Bernie's a once-in-a-lifetime candidate and how great he is. But you have to keep everything in context and everything in perspective. So everybody should go vote for him anyway, because if you keep him in striking distance, it's not crazy that Hillary could get indicted or that there could be news that she will get indicted in the general, in which case, again, I would support Bernie trying to flip superdelegates, even though he probably still won't get it anyway. But that's where we're at right now, and I wanted to let everybody know. Don't misinterpret me saying, like I said, after New York and then after Pennsylvania, don't misinterpret me saying that, hey, he almost did it, but he failed. Don't misinterpret that as, hey, I shouldn't go vote for him. Those are different things. My job is to keep it real with you guys no matter what. So when I give you guys the mathematical reality, don't let that translate into me barking instructions or orders at you as to what you should do moving forward. Of course, you still go vote for Bernie. This is a primary. This is what this is all about. And I mean, it'd be great if he stays within striking distance, and then we'll see what happens, man. It's not a crazy scenario that she gets indicted or that we hear she is going to get indicted in the general, in which case it would be reckless not to give it to Bernie, because then you would be handing the election over to any Republican, including fucking Donald Trump. So think about that. And let's say we get to a place where there's going to be an indictment, or there is an indictment, and the Democratic Party takes it from and gives it to somebody other than Bernie. I'm really, really not one of those people who says, like, there will be a third-party revolution at some point, because I think the two-party system is much more malleable than people give it credit for. But that's a scenario where there might actually be a Democratic Party that totally splits. And, you know, you have, I don't know if they'd all go to the Green Party. I don't know if they'd all start the Social Democrat Party or whatever, but something would happen big time if there's an indictment, or we hear there's going to be an indictment and they take it from Hillary and give it to somebody else. Or if we hear there's an indictment, or there is an indictment and they still give it to her anyway. The crazy thing is, now we know, because of what happened last night, the Democratic convention is going to be much more messy than the Republican one would be. So, and everybody was assuming it'd be the opposite. No. So here, that's your general breakdown of what happened in Indiana. And again, just so everybody knows where we're at with Bernie, he could win 55% every election from here on out with 55%, and he still wouldn't beat Hillary. He could win every one with 60%, and he still wouldn't beat Hillary. He would have to win every election with 65% of the vote in order to beat Hillary. So it ain't happening that he's going to override her in that way. Really, the only way that I see would be if there's an indictment, or if we hear there's going to be an indictment in the general, and then he somehow manages to flip superdelegates that fucking hate him, and they pick him over Hillary. Super, super rare scenario, but it is a scenario, and you need to know about it.